Hi. Some people has been asking about a tutorial on how I arrange my patches, and so I thought about doing a simple patch explaining how I use Shapemaster. Let's go through it. So, um, usually I start with the chords, and most of the times I use chord key, which is quite useful. I input a bunch of chords here. I usually toy around a bit with the keyboard, and when I find some chord combination I like, I start getting this into chord key. I'm not I don't know much about music. I'm learning as I go, so probably you should take advice about chords from someone else. But so in Corky you can set some chords here, and so I'm sending that through a merge. I know there's an option here, so you can send all the pitches, all the notes in one of on the first of the CV outputs, but I rather use this separation so then I can use the independent notes. So I'm using the merge module from VCV, and in this example patch I'm making, I'm just using a simple voice for the chords. Let's hear it for a moment. Okay, so the voice is clocked with the clock module, and it's a very simple voice, VCO from VCV through a filter, and I'm modulating the drive, so there's sort of a vibrato effect. You can hear it. You can make it more pronounced, but I'd rather have it subtle. Okay, and of course, if I were to change the chords in the chord key, so right now I'm not sequencing this. We'll do this with Shapemaster, among other things, okay? So everything is going through a mixer, and I'm using also this joint from Bolt to filter the overall output. More on this later. And everything is reverbed with Amazing Plateau from Valley. Very simple setup. The second voice is the drums. I usually like to use the gate seq from Impromptu and Tremor in this case, which is really handy normally. So gate sequencer is perfect for drums. I use it all the time because you can have multiple sequences, and for a basic drum setup where you have like kick, hats, maybe I don't know, the snare, something like that is perfect. So let's hear it for a bit. This could be the pattern with the most energy, but I have some more simple ones. This is only hats. This is only half the kicks and no snare. So basically, what is going on here is just, like I said, simple tremor setup, a kick, hi-hat, and then I'm emulating sort of a snare, modulating the third row. The first row goes to the kick, the second row goes to the hats, and the third row goes to simulating, I'm modulating the shape and the decay, so it sort of emulates a snare. I'm reserving the fourth row for the bass, more on this now. So this would be the drums, this is the second voice, okay? For the third voice, this is the bass, okay? So what I'm doing is where the chord key comes handy. I'm getting the first note of the chord, the bass one. Usually I use the red dot means the first note, and usually, not always, but usually I use it for the bass note. You could set up this differently if you use some module that lets you select the lowest note from a chord, something like that, but for this example I'm keeping it simple. So this note goes to the bass voice, but I'm turning that 2 octaves, this voice, and sending it to a wavetable VCO, where I'm modulating a bit the wavetable position, so it's a bit more, I don't know, interesting, going through a ADSR and through a VCA, very simple voice. Let's hear it. So since this voice is taking the note from the chord, if I change the chord, it will change accordingly. Sorry for the pun. And the good thing is this goes always harmonically with the chords, with this setup. And now for the final fourth voice. Usually, of course, I use more than four voices for my patches, but then again, this is a simple example, so you can build upon this and do something more complex, okay? So this is, I'm using an arpeggio, very simple setup. I'm using then again, the same merge voices from the chord key, sending through an ARP module from Hampton Harmonics, I think it is, yeah. And using a multiplied clock, and the gate is coming from a logic module from VCV. So it's the gate is open when not the chord voice is open. So this is where I'm using a not output from the logic. So whenever the gate for the chord is open, the gate for the arpeggio is closed, and vice versa. The arpeggio is voiced again with a wavetable, very simple wavetable, an ADSR, a VCA, and some sort of delay, or a delay from VCV that is also clocked. Let's hear it. And then again, the good part of this is that everything goes harmonically with the chord key. So if I change the chords, and if I add the rest of the voices, okay, so this would be the patch, and yeah, you could go with this, and then maybe live modulate everything using the mouse, or maybe using sequencers or LFOs or whatever. But I noticed when I first started with VCV Rack that that made me that way of working made me stuck in the loop nightmare. And I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do little songs and have some kind of progression and some beginning, middle, and end, like, I don't know, like a normal song. So that's where I found that the Shapemaster to be very, very handy. Right now every voice is going at the same time, and what if I wanted to, I don't know, sequence the chords, but also sequence where the voice is coming, where the voices come out, and everything. So like I said, that's where Shapemaster is really handy. So let's see if we can kind of do an arrangement of this patch using Shapemaster. So usually I go with the Pro version. The Pro version, which is paid, offers a couple of improvements. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just only one, but it's the ability of clock the module. More on this later. But for this example, I'm gonna stick to the free version, okay? So everyone can try this out. Okay. So Shapemaster is a lot of things. There are a couple of really good tutorials that explain this module in more depth than I'm really able or willing to do now. But basically, it allows you. Let me zoom a bit. Allows you to create any sort of shape, draw it or tweak it, or in any way change the phase, the duration, how much voltage is outputted, if it's repeating, if it's not. I mean, it's really versatile, and it's an amazing module. I really recommend, if you can afford it, go buy it. Also, the rest of the MindMeld modules are amazing. Their mixer is my go-to mixer since forever. So if you can, I really recommend buying the Pro version of Shapemaster. But for this patch and purposes, the free version works perfectly okay. So what I'm gonna do is, on Shapemaster you have 8 channels. On each channel you can create a different shape, and this can serve as an envelope, as a gate, as a voltage sequencer, or anything in between, whatever you can or you want to use it for. And what I'm using it for is for arranging the songs. So my basic setup is having each of these channels sequence a voice or some kind of parameters of the voices. Let's start with the voices. Since we have 4 voices in this patch, remember the chords, the drums, the arpeggio, and sorry again, the bass, of course. We have those 4 voices. We can use 4 of these channels for sequencing the coming and going in and out of those voices. For that, like you see here, the clock is disabled because this is the free version, but we can still change the length of the channel of each of the channels in Shapemaster. Let's say I want for this example, I'm gonna do a very simple song that is gonna last a minute, 60 seconds. Okay. Right now, out of the bat, I'm gonna connect it to the reset and to the run from clocked. Okay. If I reset now, you can see here inactive channel, connect to output. If I don't connect this output to anything, it's not gonna run. But as soon as I connect the CV output, let's say to the first voice, okay, you're gonna see here that the playhead is running. Okay, let me mix. Let's meet the rest of the voices, and then this will be muted. This will be full sound, and you can go anything in between. Okay. So now we have a way to sequence this, but even more than this, let's mute it. Okay, right now by default, this is gonna go infinite rotations. It's gonna last for 60 seconds, this shape, okay? It's gonna, this CV output, which right now is in the range of 0 to 10 volts, 0 being the lowest points here on the grid. You see it goes again. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is turn off the infinite repeats, so it's only one repeat, okay? 60 seconds, just one repeat for this channel. Let's mute this, okay? And it's gonna go all the time, over and over and over. Okay, another thing is, if you see the last dot is connected to the first dot, you can turn this off here. First last note, instead of coupled, which is by default, you can say decoupled. So once the playhead reaches the end, it's gonna stop outputted voltage. This is important if you don't want the song, once it's over, to keep sending voltage. So it's not gonna keep sounding after the playhead reaches the end. Let's see if this goes well. Once it reaches the end, it's gonna stop there. Okay, very bad. Now it's outputting CV. I think it's by default it's sending volume. Okay, yeah, okay. I think that this is a new setting. Okay, yeah, all channels freeze. There's some new option I'm not aware, but okay. If you add if you add another dot here right before the beginning, you have this 0 voltage at the end as well. Okay, so let's talk about this grid for a moment. Right now, if you see, this is going from 0 to 10 voltage. You can change this here, but for the volume purposes, I like it this way because it means 0 is silence, and then it's the loudest, and in the horizontal grid, it's divided by 16. But the thing is, what does it mean, 16 divisions? Right now it's a bit confusing, but I have a clock that is going at 120 BPM. That means in a minute, and remember our song is lasting 1 minute exactly, 60 seconds, you're gonna have 120 beats. Let's say I want each of these divisions to be 4 bits, so we have 4 bits bars, okay? So that means I have to divide 120 between 4, and you would get 30. So if I set this to be 30, and you can set here any number you want, now I have a grid that is like a sort of like a DAW, where I know each of these horizontal divisions is 4 bits. We can check this sort of if let me reset this. I'll talk a bit how to draw here in a bit. Let's reset the clock. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's going okay. So now we have. Let me mute this. Yeah. So now we have a way to know the beats and have everything synced to the clock like you would in a DAW. It's a bit cumbersome, it's quite cumbersome, but this is probably the best way so far I found to arrange songs in VCV without going to. I know, I am aware there are DAW-like modules that let you work with like the typical DAW standard of the horizontal timeline, but I'm not very. I don't like to use them very much, so I'd rather use this. I don't know. Probably it's not the most modular way of approaching music making in VCV, but yeah, it works for me. So maybe it works for you too. So this would be the first voice, okay? And once I have this set up, what I do is copy this channel on the rest of the channels, okay? So now, because now we have this correctly set up, so we know each horizontal division is set to 4 bits and the likes, okay? One thing before I continue, the way I'm drawing here is like if you press Control and Shift and press on the grid, it snaps to both the horizontal and vertical grid, okay? This is really handy to work in these divisions, okay? But also if you double click on any of the lines, you can create new points, and if you don't hold any modifier key, it won't snap. Alt will snap to the horizontal, sorry, the horizontal right, and the control to the vertical. Control Alt will snap to the intersections. Okay, so I will copy this then to, let me reset this voice. I'm gonna copy this to the other channels. You can right click, copy channel, and then you can go and paste it on the rest of the channels. I'm gonna paste it in all, okay? Okay, we can also name each of the channels. For instance, I know this first one is gonna be the chords, so I'll name it as chord, and then I have to turn on this show channel names labels, show channel labels. Okay, and now we have chords here. This is of course not connected to anything yet, so it will say inactive channel until I connect it to something. Let's do that already. I'm gonna connect the second channel to the second voice, which is the drums, the third to the third channel, which is the bass, and lastly the arpeggio goes to the fourth and last voice. Let me turn this on, otherwise it won't create any sound. And now if I press run, nothing is gonna sound because everything is muted. Everything is on the zero Y axis, which means no voltage is coming, or zero voltage rather is coming, and this is modulating the mixer. But if I turn on the chords like before, we have chords, and if I want the chords muted here, the chords will be muted, and if I want here the second channel, the drums, we'll have the drums, and same goes for the bass and the arpeggios. You can also use this as a sort of fading out. You don't have to stick to, of course, to horizontal bars. You can do whatever. It's just, for me, it's easier, at least for the first rough arrangement, to do this. So I know I'm sticking to the bars. Okay. So now we have a way to modulate the voices, the volume of the voices. Okay. This is one of the uses of Shapemaster, but this goes so much further than that. Let's say right now the chords are not being sequenced, so we have the same chord the whole song, which is not what we want. Also, we have 4 channels that we are not really using that could be used for something else. So let me just quickly switch to the final version of my arrangement, so you don't have to go through the whole process. But this Shapemaster instance is already set up, and I'll go one by one with the channels. Let me connect everything to this one instead. Okay, so now this Shapemaster is controlling all the voices and the like. It's running. Let me stop it. Okay, we can get rid of this one. Okay, so now what do we have here? Okay, first 4 voices like before, the chords, the drums, the bass, and the arpeggios. You can see I'm slowly turning up the volume of the chords, so the song starts a bit more nuanced and then goes louder, and the drums also come in like with a bit of a ramp up, and then for 4 bars they stay at a lower volume and then jump up. The bass is not present on the 8 first bars, and then we have 8 bars with the bass and another 8 without, and the arpeggios come in and out in different parts of the song. Okay, that's for the first 4 voices, but I'm also using this for other channels of the Shapemaster to modulate different things. This first one is going to be used for the chords. Okay, so I know chord key takes 0 to 2 voltage input here. That means for key, this I know because of the manual, of course, but the chord key goes up to 25 chords, I think, and each of one, so that's divided in between a 0 to 2 interval of voltage. Okay, so I set up this channel to be in the range of 0 to 2, so I know each of these divisions corresponds to the division here, to the index of the chord key. Okay, so I know this is first one is gonna be the second, should be the second chord, and so on. This is the first, and so on. It's a bit, I know it's gonna be a bit difficult to maybe get your mind around, but once you get used to working this way, it's really powerful, because now I can change. I don't need a sequencer for the chords, because what if you want part of the song to be a chord progression, but then on the verse or the chorus or whatever you want a different chord progression, you would need 2 sequencers. But with this method, you only need Shapemaster. I can say, okay, this part goes this chord, then this one, and this other part of the song is gonna be completely different chords, and everything is gonna be powered with a single usage of chord key. So it's really handy and streamlined, I think, even if it's a bit weird way of sequencing. Okay, so now I have sequenced the chords. What else can we sequence? Okay, so this 6th channel is gonna be the arpeggio modulation. And what does it mean? It means that I have here the arpeggios, and we have different options to modulate. We can modulate, for instance, the octave of the arpeggios, how high it goes, and the order of the notes. So I can use this to sample both, to modulate both. I'm gonna connect this to both of the channels, and the 7th one is gonna be the drum pattern. Of course, we have, like I said before, we have different patterns for the gates, okay, of the drums, and we can sequence this as well with this seq input. Let's send this here. Okay, this is again, this is something you have to check on each module, because in this case I'm going through from the range of 0 to 1 volts for the patterns. Okay, and this will mean that this is the first pattern, this is the second, this is the third. Okay, this is, I learned through a bit of trial and error, so you have to maybe experiment a bit with this. Okay, and the final channel of the Shapemaster I'm using for the general filter. Okay, so I'm modulating everything with this joint from Volt, and this is very handy because to the left is a low pass filter, and to the right are high pass, or in the reverse, I don't remember. But if I modulate this, you can get to do like risers and building up for parts of the song, or chucking away some sounds of the whole song. Is really handy, and it's a really easy method of I don't know, creating some overall modulation that is cheap to do, and it's just using another channel of the Shapemaster. So for this patch, I'm not really want to complicate it much more than this, because usually in my patches I use 2 instances of Shapemaster, one for the voices, so I have up to 8 voices, and another one for the modulation, so I have 8 channels, extra channels of modulation. You could also uh, add as many Shapemaster modules as you wanted. I haven't really checked the performance, but I haven't yet found a patch that haven't run perfectly fine in my computer. So yeah, let's hear the final result. Sorry for me just rambling and talking all the time, but let's hear how everything works with this new Shapemaster. Okay, so that could be, like I said, it's a very simple patch, nothing fancy or anything, but it's just to show you how interesting this way of sequencing or arranging songs in VCV is. I think it's really powerful. I'm aware this is a bit cumbersome, and I'm not gonna lie, all my patches where I use this method, usually I spend about the same amount of time doing this arrangement thing than I do creating the voices and the rest of the stuff. But in the end, I think it's worth it because you end up with full songs, and it allows you to escape the loop nightmare. At least it did for me. So I hope this helps you too. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'll do another tutorial on maybe more complex stuff you can do with this, or how to add extra modulation in the patches. But at the core of it is just this Shapemaster controlling everything and sync to the same length of the song. So this is really interesting and unique way of making songs in VCV. Okay, have fun.